I'm going to be jumping in as Brandenburg today. We'll have Iron Man enabled default settings. Brandenburg is considered a very hard nation, but I don't think they're too complicated. I'm hoping to be able to guide you guys through how to play Brandenburg and have a pretty easy time of it. As Brandenburg, we are going to get a pretty nasty event in the first couple months, so we don't want to grant any privileges because our legitimacy is going to take a big hit. I'll show you guys that in just a minute. And go ahead and grab a reform. I'm going to grab the diplomatic traditions for the diplo capacity and the diplo rep. We'll go ahead and queue up our research. I like to pick up the diplo capacity as well as the monthly diplomats and the institution growth. We can grab one of these smaller nations next to us, although anyone should be okay. We'll set minting to 0, make sure all the estates are maxed on taxes, max cost of court, and then turn off everything else except for food. We're going to be pushing towards centralization and stabilizing the country. Let's go ahead and assign some members to the cabinet there. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and take away one privilege from the commoners. It gives 0.2 decentralization, which we don't like. And then for now, let's just go ahead and unpause, set it to 5 speed, and we'll go ahead and get to that nasty event. So here's this event here. We're going to lose 40 legitimacy. This is pretty bad debuff for negative control. And the way this works is you either need to hit a positive 7 score or a negative 20. And you're currently a negative 15. So it's much easier to hit the negative 20. I have gone for the positive 7 before. You can do it, but you will have to deal with that debuff for a longer amount of time. So I think the better approach is going for the negative 20. We're going to get events that push us either positive or negative, and I'll show you guys what those look like here in a minute. But you can see our legitimacy drops to 39, and we can get a disaster if our legitimacy is below 50. But that would be pretty bad luck. Get a historical event here to expand the castle. Definitely go ahead and take that. As Brandenburg, you're going to get a random claim with a neighbor. It's not always Stettin. It is Stettin in this case. I could look at the Stettin war and decide if that's something I'd want to do. You can see that I'm slightly favored to win, so I could do that. That seems like a valid idea, so just go ahead and do that. Again, this is just going to be RNG. Sometimes it's Mecklenburg. You don't really have to do this war if you don't want to. But if they give you a free claim, I'm kind of like, okay, free claim and I'm favored to win. Why not? Just go ahead and declare that war. I want to make sure our subject is supportive. So right now he's a bit disloyal. So we're just going to upload diplo spending enough to make that go away. Go to our subject tab, manage subjects, set supportive. Let's go ahead and raise our levies. So you can see right now I can only raise 38 levies because my commoners are upset. So I'm going to have to give them some privileges to fix that up. And now that we've granted that, we should be able to get the levies on the month tick. There we go. 1,600 guys ready to go. And for automation, I meant to do this earlier, but let's automate trade, assign generals and admirals. And let's make sure that we have attach allowed. Our subject's going to battle without us, which, you know, is fine. But Stettin is a pretty easy war. I want to go ahead and improve relations with Bohemia and our subject. It was a pretty easy war for us there. We can just go ahead and annex Stettin. Check our AE, but should be no worries on coalitions yet. Take a little bit of money. Make sure we turn off our forts and army after the war. And probably turn off our diplo spending as well. We have a bunch of unintegrated land, and we don't really have the subject capacity to deal with it at the moment. It's okay to just kind of leave it as unintegrated, though. And here's our first Wittelsbach investment event. Again, we always want to pick the bottom option because this is going to give us the negative value. But keep an eye on the estates because they're definitely not going to be happy that you do that. Now to have a little bit positive legitimacy, I actually want to grab the 2 centralization privileges, the clergy one here. And I think we actually already have the burghers one, the road privilege. That way we're actually pushing centralization a bit here. We've got our first parliament here. We're going to go ahead and call it. Just pick the nobility option here. Doesn't really matter what the option is. We're not going to actually pass it. And we're definitely going to want to change some laws. The first law I'm going to change is the distribution of power. We're going to favor the common people for extra taxes. And if we can get another law through, we will. Like this is fine, less than levy obligations. This is kind of RNG though. But ideally, we want to change our royal court customs and our administration system at some point. So we're going to go ahead and change royal court customs to balanced court because legislative efficiency lowers the antagonism, and we're going to be doing a lot of conquest, so we want to make sure that we're able to lower antagonism as much as possible. We're going to fail parliament, as I mentioned, not a big deal. We're losing a little money. It's not a big deal. We kind of just, you know, have to deal with that kind of negative event that we started with. I don't really like to spend any money. I just kind of like to hold my money to compensate for that. Here's another one of those Wittelsbach investment scores. Pick the bottom option once again. You can see it does make the estates kind of upset. And once we have our legitimacy a bit higher, we can start granting privileges. And we do need to tax the commoners more. We changed our laws. For privileges, I like to grant basically everything that makes the estates happy that isn't super harmful for me. So for example, I wouldn't want to grant decentralization trend because that would push you towards decentralization. But I don't mind things like this, like making the communalism I don't mind, or clergy satisfaction, for example. And I don't mind giving the commoners some representation, elaborate court life, the nobility, as well as nobility-controlled serfdom. And then we'll kind of, you know, go through, give the burghers some stuff that's useful. Again, I don't want to go below 50 legitimacy, so I make sure to not grab too many privileges at once. The Age of Renaissance is here. I like to go with the admin focus. The admin focus gives us legislative efficiency, which is essentially like antagonism reduction, but also gives us some proximity costs, so pretty handy. And once we hit the Age of Renaissance, I'm actually going to change out this privilege here for plutocratic ethos, because again, legislative efficiency is like antagonism reduction. Might lower our stab to negative. That's totally okay. We got an alliance offer here, but we're probably just going to decline it. We're looking to get an alliance with Bohemia. We don't have a lot of diplo capacity either for a bunch of allies. We probably could turn some of this unintegrated land into subjects at this point. I just want to be careful with my subject capacity. Let's just start with Stettin and see what that looks like. Make them a fiefdom. You see after that, we're kind of getting closer. So maybe we'll make one more subject and just kind of see how that feels. We got another Wittelsbach event here. We're getting to that negative 20. We're at negative 18 now. We're actually able to grab all of these as subjects, I think. That's totally good. That way we're not sitting on any undegraded land. Do improve relations with our other subjects too. I forgot to mention this in the intro. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the content. So that we're in the next age, I'm going to start researching towards the legislative efficiency and then the proximity costs, which is up here. And that's going to be good for now. And I'm setting 100 legitimacy. I'm going to grab some more privileges now that I see I have max legitimacy. And I'm going to grab the treasury rights. This is a privilege that I'm still experimenting with. So I don't really want to recommend this. I haven't really tested it enough. I just like the idea of getting more tax efficiency. Although later on, you'd probably want to get rid of this privilege. The early game, you get most of your income from the peasants, so it seems like a relatively good option. Speaking of the peasants, I do want to give them some more privileges. I don't mind having no labor on Sunday, but I don't want to get the nobility too upset, so we'll grab them something back. Just trying to balance it. You don't want to grab too many privileges too fast, or you're going to be looking at civil war. So another parliament here, and I'm just going to go for another law change. I'm going to switch to the Essential Council for now, just because I want to push centralization for a bit more. And if we get another law through, that'd be cool, but I don't know that that's going to be an option. Probably not. That's totally okay. Got another Wittelsbach investment event. We're going to be at negative 19. I got an event to build the Grand Palace, and it's up to you if you guys want to do this. We'll take a little bit of debt. I don't mind taking a little bit of debt, though. It looks like the Emperor was just selected as Bohemia. Again, we just took on a little bit of debt to get that Grand Palace. And we do have a little bit of a problem with diplo capacity. We've got to up that now. We're in a union now. Our leader died. That's okay. So you got this event here, and you want to make sure you pick the second option. The first option is going to push you towards the positive path. You get +5 in the positive direction, but we're trying to go for the negative direction. We don't want to do this one because this one lowers your stability by 100 and just gets rid of it straight away. We actually just have to take the second option, which means we have to execute the pretender ourselves. This is a bit RNG. Sometimes you'll be able to execute, sometimes not. You can see here that having to deal with a rebellion as a result of this. And if you notice the rebellion, you can see here, I could get rid of the fort if I really was concerned about it, but I'm going to get help, so it's probably not a big deal. There we go. We got the Civil War. We can call in Denmark, raise our levies, and we should be perfectly okay. Black Death is here. Not to worry. Here is our final towards negative 20 here. Grab that, and we're going to get an event in just a month here. There we go. The neglect of Brandenburg. We're going to contact the Emperor, and then it's some RNG on what you get here. So in this case, we got the RNG that simply we stay as this dynasty. This one's pretty rare, but it's totally fine. But at any rate, whatever the RNG is, you should get rid of the negative debuff. I think the three options are you get a union with Bohemia, Bohemia assigns somebody from his cabinet as your leader, or you just stay in your dynasty. We got an event here that lets you get an alliance with the Emperor, which in this case is Bohemia. So we're going to come and do that. We do lose our alliance with Denmark as a result, though. Still with the rebels, no issues there. So we're in a pretty good spot now. We've got rid of our bad debuff. We're in a little bit of debt, though. That's totally okay. We do want to start annexing our subjects as soon as possible here. It takes quite a bit of time. We probably want to turn off our diplomatic spending if we can. Even if our diplomatic capacity is a little bit over, it's fine, as long as the subjects aren't disloyal. I'm going to go ahead and just grab the nobility. A privilege to just kind of make them happier. Trying to avoid another civil war if we can. Currently, there's a vote going on. Want to make sure that we vote with whatever the leader's voting for. I'm pretty sure they're voting for established seniority. It's not ideal that we're in a union, but we'll get rid of that eventually. Black Death is here. We're going to want to go ahead and just segregate the infected. That's pretty much all we're going to do, or all we're going to be able to do. I'm going to grab primacy of the nobility. Basically, shut up the nobility. They're kind of civil war on me here. I'm like, I'd rather not. We can slow that down. We can even go ahead and go rebel crackdown on the nobility. Got another parliament here. I'm going to just pick the nobility option. Let's look for a law change. I'm going to go ahead and swap to noble levies. We can go with autonomy support here. It's not a big deal because we're still not at the max. We still don't even push centralization all the way, so it doesn't really matter if you give autonomy support at that point. Because that way we could get another law change. We're going to change our mining law to burghers controlled. And we got a support for land focus. Support for land focus is always really, really lucky. We can actually go for another law change. And it's not super important to do these law changes immediately, but I like to change towards humanist, mostly for the tolerance of heretics and heathens. So I'm just changing my censorship law. Again, this one's not important to get done for probably 100+ years. I just like to get it all done. Just obviously in the short term, this Grand Palace that we have is just a little bit too expensive for us. So I'm just going to go ahead and close it down temporarily. We can reopen it later. It's just a little bit too expensive for us. It's a nice building to have, though. Creating a few more privileges out to the clergy and maybe the burghers. I like to get all the privileges out of the way. We're just going to go back to settling the country. Those nobility rebels were able to be stopped. I do want to start getting out of debt. soon as possible because that lowers our crown power. We've got a historical event where Bohemia wants to purchase the electorate. Go ahead and give them this offer. Although I don't know if it'll work because we're in a union already. But if you do this, sometimes it can lead to getting the historical dynasty that Brandenburg has. But again, it might not work because they're already in a union. Brandenburg does tend to start pretty slow, and that's totally okay. Continue to get out of debt. We're getting there. The burghers are looking to revolt, but they're only revolting with a single location, so I totally don't mind. Because if they revolt, I get plus 50 satisfaction anyways. Got an option to go to war with one of our neighbors here. We can look at it. So you can say here, it's another war that's pretty winnable. And so I could say, sure thing. I also have to fight Magdeburg, though. If they're going to give you a free claim, you might as well, if it's winnable. So just go ahead and send an insult over here because we have good relations. I'll just go ahead and declare war. Oh, never mind. We have those rebels about to pop up. We got to wait. There they are. Again, that's just one location here. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. You can see where you get 50 state equilibrium if a civil war happens. So I'm totally okay with them civil warring with one location here. Can completely get out of debt here. Looks good. And we can probably reopen our building we shut down over here. It's expensive, but it gives a lot of cultural influence, which is pretty handy. That helps with our annexation of subjects and stuff like that. So civil war is done. We do have this option to go to the sword up here. And again, this war looks pretty winnable. Just go ahead and jump into that. Raise our levies. We got a lot of subjects. Let's make sure they're on supportive. Let's jump into manage subjects supportive. And if we didn't get these claims, we could just use Parliament for claims. Because again, that's kind of RNG on what wars you're going to be able to get. It's just one of those things that you kind of like get to look at it and evaluate for yourself if it's a good war or not. But this war looks relatively easy. So like this is over, we can see we lost 170,000 pops. Not too bad, but definitely a lot of people lost. And now we have to come to the peace deal and figure out how greedy can we be without getting coalitioned. And if we look at our capital here, this land's actually probably the most valuable to us because it's closer to our capital, where the land up here is a bit further away. But if we took everything, we'd be looking at a coalition that could be up to 6 countries. And I think we're comfortable with that. That doesn't seem like too big of an issue. We have Bohemia as an ally, of course. That's why we're able to do that. Although Bohemia might break lines if we get too big of a coalition. We just have to be careful, because if we lost Bohemia as an ally, that could spell trouble to the coalition. They're trying to pass a law here. I just want to make sure that I vote with them, or it hurts my state satisfaction. So we're going to vote for this, because I think that's the majority at the moment. It's hovering over here. Looks like, yep. If you don't vote with them, the estates tend to not be too happy with you. And we can go ahead and look up here and see kind of the coalition targets. And anyone above 50, we could look to improve with if we're too worried about it. But we don't really have diplomats right now, so it's not a huge issue for us. Make sure to turn off our forts not at war. We probably don't need all the forts. And if we're worried about money, we could delete some forts, but probably going to be okay. Annex our first subject here, and that's be helpful, of course. We need to annex the other subjects as well as soon as we can. We're probably going to have to up our diplomat spending for a little bit, though, to get a diplomat to do that. As soon as we annex those guys, the sooner we can make new subjects. Go ahead and call Parliament. And again, we just want to get all our law changes through. Definitely getting there. But we're going to go ahead and change same religion to any religion for a trend to humanist and also tolerance. And if we can get another law passed, we'll try that. I don't want to piss off the nobility, so I'm going to avoid doing anything else besides nobility agendas. I'm going to change religious teachings here to devout education. The reason I'm doing that is because religious teachings gives 0.1 spiritualist, whereas devout education only gives 0.02. And that way we can start trending towards humanist. Probably want to get some favors with Bohemia too at some point, but right now we don't have any diplomats. We can pull off these guys from improved relations. They're pretty happy with us. Make sure we pass on these votes every time. Just keep an eye on that if you're in a union. If our vote doesn't go through as the majority, our loyalty to our states, so I'm just going to vote whatever they vote. We're going to leave the union eventually. Looking at a possible rebellion with the nobility, but they're pretty happy. You can see here it's only one location, so really it's kind of a benefit because that would be 50 loyalties without a state. So there's that civil war. I guess it's a few more locations. Not really a big deal. I could even call them Bohemia if I really desired. I don't even need Bohemia, it's just sure. But hey, we get 50 loyalty that way, it's not a big deal. The church has a schism, all normal, but that means no AE reduction from the church for a little bit. We do have a little bit of room for extra subjects, so we might as well create 1 or 2 in this new land here. Just creating fiefdoms every time. We're just going to start with 1 and see how that feels. We'll probably wait for the annexation to get more subjects too, because it'll take a little bit of a penalty there. All right, those guys annexed, so we can go ahead and make a new subject. I could get professional armies, but I think I'm going to hold off. We now hit our max centralization, so what we're going to do now is call Parliament and then switch that law. The law I'm referring to is the administration system. We want to go for the legislative efficiency now. The idea is that we wanted to push the max centralization as possible with the extra trend, but now that we're hitting that cap, we don't need to do that anymore. In fact, we can switch what we're doing here probably to diplomatic endeavors. It looks like we can't really get anything else in this parliament. They want to change a policy that we don't want. And our capital is actually in a really rough spot here. You can see here that we get a plus 25% proximity impact because it's wetlands. So I think moving our capital to Berlin could make a lot of sense here. Let's go ahead and do that. We got a bit of RNG. Might be able to get something through parliament here. The nobility is not going to like this, but it would be nice to get a claim over here. especially because we're moving our capital to Berlin. So this land right next to Berlin is pretty valuable for us. So we've got our capital moved. Look, should be a much better spot for capital. And we can go ahead and go to war with these guys as well. You can see here it should be a pretty easy war. A lot of smaller nations that we could pick off as well. Could call in Bohemia if we really wanted to. Probably don't need to, unless we, feel so inclined to have a super easy war. So the war is super quick, no forts, just the way I like it. But we'll go ahead and just grab a couple things. Again, stuff close to Berlin is super valuable. Stuff over here is probably not going to be that impactful. I mean, we could take it if we just have extra antagonism to do so, which it does look like we probably could. But it's not really that important for us to take. So I suppose I can just go through and separate piece these different nations. Again, it's not like I really need the land up there, but I might as well snag it if the coalition's not going to be too big of an issue for me. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and take those. No big deal. Again, our 80 impact is pretty good because we've been stacking that legislative efficiency. And you can see here, coalition looks like it could be 6 countries, but we're not really afraid of these 6 countries. Just to demonstrate, when considering what to make subjects or fiefdoms, it's a good idea to look at the integrate province action and see what percentage of the land you already have integrated. It doesn't make a ton of sense to make a new subject, for example, for a 87% integrated area. We can't even do that with our capital, but kind of the idea being that like we should do some manual integration of stuff that's basically already integrated like that. And then we can release subjects for the stuff that's like 0% or 15% or whatever the case may be. And we got our proximity costs research done. So we could grab the institution or we could just get some other research. I think the literacy research are quite good. So I'm going to queue up those 3 and the expected cost of court. But eventually here we'll pick up the institution. You can see here that royal court doesn't work anymore because it's not in our capital. That's okay. We got some good value out of it. You can see that we were up to 24 cultural influence, but that was a big contributor to that. So again, we got another event here if we want to go to war with Mecklenburg. Look at that. Though we know our AE is a little bit high at the moment, so it could be something may not be such a great idea. Kind of just looking around at our antagonism map mode, you can see we're kind of in like the 20-30 range. 50 is when you're going to hit that coalition. So I'll probably pass on this one just to keep it safe. Now I'm going to curry some favors with Bohemia. I'm thinking I might want to get out of this union. And to get out of the union, I would need to fight Bavaria. And if I use Bohemia to do that, of course, that would be pretty easy. But there's a union independence CB we could grab. We could even go for seniority, but I don't really feel like I need that. So I could just start getting a spine arc going with Upper Bavaria, who we're in a union with. And it could be an okay idea to boost our stab, because that way we could grab the institution a little bit easier. I could grab a few more privileges. Again, privileges are kind of something you have to slowly add in if you don't want to get any noble civil wars. I'm going to show you all the privileges and laws at the end of the video, just so you guys can kind of feel that in one place. Now that we have all the laws that we want passed, a lot of times we're just going to do what I like to call a tax season, where you just request additional taxes and you just max out those taxes. At this point, we don't want to do autonomy movement anymore because we are pushed the max towards that. And we took away the ability to get that value trend. If you remember, we changed our law. So if you ever lost centralization at this point, it wouldn't be able to be granted back through a cabinet action. We got our first bit of money going. We can actually get a road going from Berlin to Brandenburg. And we could also get some RGOs going. Probably just go for the mass expand, though our capital is where we're likely going to want to build those RGOs to start. So we're just integrating, annexing, trying to get everything locked in, not being too aggressive here. One thing I can do is grab professional armies. So it's only 10 stab at this point. I'm going to start queuing up the armories down here. That should be okay. We're going to grab the Union Independent CB. So we got Parliament up again. We're going to go for another tax season. Again, that's just me referring to request additional taxes as what we're trying to go for. Generally speaking, I don't really try to pass the debates unless it's a road debate. Road debates push centralization. So I definitely want to keep my eye out for those. But otherwise, we're just kind of going for increased taxes. And we want to make sure we have diplo spending off when we can. Try to make a little bit of money. Of course, nothing compared to some of the greater powers that you guys have probably played already. But it's an honest day's work. I'll start building roads just wherever we can soon around our capital. There we have the money. I just got my Union CB here. Or rather, my Leave the Union CB. But Bohemia is fighting France, so it's probably not a great time. It's actually been declared on by Poland here, and Bohemia broke alliance with me. Could be a little problematic, but we'll just have to see how that goes. It's kind of unfortunate, too, because this is happening because he's getting killed by France, and that means that we're going to have to struggle a bit more over here. But we do have our Union to help us, so I guess it's A-okay. Things don't always work out the way you plan. Look at the possibility of just hiring a few mercenaries here. Just hired, like, a little bit of guys here just to help out. Professionals are pretty cracked in this fetch, so that could be the deal. Even though it's 200 guys, actually can maybe do something. Though I do really need to stick with my buddies here. You see a little stack here, though, we can pick off. Very nice there. We just got to play this safe. I mean, he's got 9,000 guys. They're splitting up, though, here. It's really good for us. So we can definitely take these guys, I think. It's a close battle, though, maybe. We'll see. Oh, yeah. They're fighting disadvantaged terrain. Really good win for us. I could piece out this war right now and it becomes a question of greed. Like, do I want to try to take something? I think we'll just take some more reps from Poland here. We got some good wins, and that seems okay. We don't need to be too greedy. One thing I forgot to do, I should have done this earlier, is build a sergeantry. Good for crown power. Normally I like to try to get crown power by putting my guy in the army, but my leader is actually not available for that since I'm in a union. That's why getting out of the union would be valuable. But without Bohemia's help, that might not be an option anymore. Just have to pivot a little bit off of that. Could look to re-ally to Denmark. We're also trying to fish for that alliance back with Bohemia, but he might want my land now, so we have to kind of just, pivot. I'm going to go ahead and queue up the handgunners. So we're getting our armies first, which I usually like to do, and then the handgunners. Lower Bavaria is offering alliance. We'll say sure just because I don't have any allies. I'm going to stop paying for stability, just rather have that money for my economy. I think we're just going to be having another tax season. And roads and RGOs are my primary thing I want to be buying right now. I'm going to try to get an alliance with Austria. Just want somebody to protect me against Bohemia, more or less. Got the possibility to fight Wolgast. Just take a look. Doesn't look like a great option, so go ahead and just say war does not suit us. We've unlocked the armory, so I can go ahead and rebuild one or two of those. They're kind of expensive to maintain, so I probably just want some in Berlin. It looks like I do not have an accepted culture in my capital. Let's go ahead and try to fix that. So let's go ahead and build an armory in my capital. When we have the money, we'll probably build another one. We'll just build 100 footmen. If there is anyone in the crown that could work there, we'd put them in there, but there isn't. You can see here. Fairly close to an alliance with Bohemia again. We're going to try to put diplomatic endeavors on and then go ahead and profess trust. It looks like we should be able to get that alliance back. There we go. The biggest reason for wanting to ally Bohemia is simply to protect myself from Bohemia. They're also good for other things like this whole situation with trying to get out of the Union. The Parliament is up. We're going to be going for a claim this time around. We're trying to form Saxony, actually, and we need to start looking to do that before 1410. And I'll explain the reasoning behind that a bit later. Just know that our goal is to form Saxony before 1410. Let's go ahead and get a claim here. We're planning to call on Bohemia here, but what we want to do is just send an insult so it's not so destabilizing. Let's pick up our diplo spending a bit and turn on our armies, that sort of thing. I'm going to need 2 diplomats, 1 to call on Bohemia and 1 to declare the war. We can turn off our diplo spending. Just go ahead and declare war. And then we're going to go ahead and use favors to call in Bohemia. Let's raise up our levies. We got 7,000 now, so we are getting a bit stronger. We got 100 professionals as well, but we're obviously just going to group everything, make sure we balance, and then just look for some battles. Bohemia might want the land, so it could be a good idea to kind of get in there and make sure that we get some of the sieges. Looks like this guy's a known fort enjoyer. 4 forts. It's going to be a little rough to get through. Fortunately, Bohemia is not giving me over all the sieges. Bohemia is giving us some sieges, but yeah, he's kind of being a little bit of a jerk. We'll go ahead and pick up the next institution and probably just start researching towards bureaucracy because it's a bit of centralization trend. I also want the max literacy at the bottom here. And we could also start researching toward cannons. I did forget this. Unfortunately, Bohemia has occupancy of most of the land I want here. We'll just get the one province here. Bohemia snagged everything else, but we'll take money war reps. I really only needed the one province for what we're trying to do. I'm going to go ahead and create a subject out of that new province. Essentially, I need to have this integrated by 1410 is the plan to kind of do what I was trying to do. Looks like I got a little bit of a rebellion. Just call Bohemia, make things simple. Didn't notice the nobles were upset. So I'm going to upgrade to my handgunners and then probably get a couple more of them. Not many, just maybe like 1 or 2 stacks. A little bit of a standing army, but nothing too serious. I'll pick up a second armory. Okay with that. And then we want to look to go to another war here. Just going to pick up 2 more handgunner stacks, so I'm up to 1,000. Let's just get ready for war. Trying to form Saxony, so we need some Saxon land. So I'm going to claim over here and declare war. Suppose we should send an insult first and then up our diplo spending. If we get in trouble in this war, we can call in Bohemia, but I'm hoping that won't be the case. I really want to compete with them for land. And we can see here this guy actually has no forts, so should be a pretty easy war. Just go ahead and declare war. Got 1,000 professionals here to raise up our levies and drop down the force speed. Though, since we have professionals ready to go, we can probably just get a lot of sieges done before you can even react. So I've got the guy fully sieged. Make sure we balance our troops here. We do have quite a bit of professionals, so we should be able to easily win some battles here. See, we're kind of crushing. And we can go ahead and just end the war. Pretty simple. I should have checked the antagonism, but I think we're not too aggressive. Denmark is looking for an alliance. I could do that. I suppose I don't mind. Go ahead and select my bureaucracy law to centralize bureaucracy. Pretty solid one there. I'm just chilling for a bit, waiting for Parliament. Looks like Bohemia broke alliance with me for some reason. Looks like some sort of annual treaties. It's fine we have Denmark as a supporter, I guess. Hopefully we won't get attacked, but alliances are very fickle in this game so far. Hopefully they improve that. I can go ahead and ally to Austria, though. So I have Austria and Denmark, just in case the Bohemia wants to invade me. So next Parliament is up. We're going to go ahead and call it. We're just looking to acquire Saxon development at this point, or really population. So we'll go to war with Thuringia. Could call in Denmark, too, if we want, sure. But we should be at war with this guy as well. That looks good. Let's get our levies ready to go. We do have our 1,000 professionals as well. Might as well get some extra taxes here, too. Always a good thing if you can. Probably could build some more roads. We'll save a little bit of money just in case, though. We're getting sieged down pretty heavily, but we kind of just need to commit to this fort. Very nice. Pretty close battle here, but their flank broke. Very nice. And yeah, just trying to get someone out of this war. It's kind of tough to make progress here with lots of levy spam. Just gonna go mess with Luneburg for a sec to see if I can get him to leave. I don't want to go after any forts, though. All right, so Luneburg will just white peace. At the end of the day, I just want the Saxon land, so that'll be nice. I'm gonna start annexing my subject here. Shouldn't take too long. So I'm gonna up my diplo spending because I think I'm gonna get a lot of antagonism here. I'm trying to avoid it, but I don't know if I can. Oh, the Hussite Wars is happening. I don't think I'm gonna fight Bohemia right now. No thanks. Yeah, it's just looking like it's gonna be a lot of antagonism. Before in this war, I just want to try to improve relations with a couple people here. So I don't want to get coalitioned here, and I'm not in any rush to end the war. So just going to the antagonism map mode. I probably just want to improve with Brunswick especially. But, you know, maybe anyone down here as well, like Hesse would be great before we end this war. So I'm going to improve with Hesse. Again, I'm just trying to make some last-minute attempts to slow the antagonism. Again, I'm just trying to lower the antagonism just a bit for some of these guys that might be a risk for me for a coalition. Just going to go ahead and finish off this guy here. We fought him earlier, of course. And then we'll look at the damage, coalition-wise. Might be a little bit rough. You can see here. Just want to make sure that we, you know, immediately go in and try to improve with them more. I think they might be busy in the Hussite Wars anyways, so maybe they don't have the time to deal with me. You can pick up the Renaissance here, though. It's good. We're just going to queue up the extra cabinet seats, crown power, university, more crown power from being Brandenburg. Yeah, lots of good stuff here. More or less, we're just trying to stop this coalition from being a problem. It's not too bad. You can see that a lot of these people are just kind of hovering close to 50, so they might be able to stop that in time. Brunswick is the one I really don't want to join the coalition. Apparently, they see what I did as a little bit aggressive. Fair enough. I can call for peace, but this actually gives me extra diplomats, so I don't mind. That way I can improve relations with more of the coalition members. I'm not sure if I'll take more land, though, because, again, we got a lot of AE already now. But for now, we're just improving relations with all of the possible coalition members. So Brunswick dropped off there. That's good. So why peace this war? It took a little more land than I meant to. I annexed my subject, which is good. The plan with annexing my subject was I could integrate the land. I could move my capital. Though I better call Parliament here, get some money going. And I'm going to go to the church. Go ahead and go to my religion tab and just select this saint. Use this ability here to get a bunch of prestige. It says you only get like 13, but you get way more than that. You get like 57, but I'm doing that so I can accept Saxon culture. So go ahead and tolerate Saxon and add them as accepted. It'll put me over the culture capacity, but it's A-okay. I guess I'm the emperor now. Didn't really try for that, but I guess it just ended up that way. I mean, that works out nicely because I can steal the union back. Oh, it seems to not work. Not sure why that's not working. I guess there's a vote going on right now. I'll vote for establishing a partner. I don't mind at all. It's kind of unfortunate that I'm the emperor and I'm a great power because my cost of court's really expensive now. But one little trick I'm going to use here. So I'm going to turn off all my money, turn off my trade, and, you know, get rid of all those trades. I'm doing this so I can move my capital cheaper. Because right now it would be 400. And if I wait the month tick, then it's down to 34 ducats. And that's not an exploit, guys. Don't worry. Working as designed. So I'm going to move my capital over to Dresden just for a bit so we can form into Saxony. But we can turn our money back on after that. So that's done. I'm actually going to go ahead and swap to Saxon culture. It's actually my majority. I'm doing that so I can form into Saxony. Saxony is actually an incredibly powerful formable. They're actually very similar to Prussia as far as what they get. If look here, you get crown power, monthly development, get some income from minting, monthly war exhaustion, efficiency of cabinet, tolerance of heretics, which I think is the exact same with Prussia, monthly literacy, morale, porcelain output, which is random, but nice, culture tradition, building cost, and finally production efficiency. So very similar to Prussia. I just think it makes more sense to form these guys. And as a side effect of forming Saxony is that we avoid the robber barons event, which is a really punishing event for Brandenburg. But you have to do this before 1410. That's why I mentioned earlier we got to get there before 1410. We are going to want to move back our capital straight away to Berlin. The legitimacy is kind of cooked right now. And I'm going to move my capital back to Berlin. A bit painful in the stability department, but we're going to be A-okay. We have negative 84 stability right now, so yeah, a little bit of the hard times, but we should be fine. And I'm just going to go ahead and create some new subjects. I don't have this land integrated, so let's just go ahead and create these as subjects. We have move our capital back to Berlin. We're in a bit of debt, and we do need to kind of fix our financial situation and our court. Again, we solve culture and move our capital twice, so that's negative 90 stability. But we can up our cost of court and, just kind of work on stabilizing our nation a little bit. Can up our stab. A new government reform. We can just pick up the royal decree. I don't know why it's happening, but no matter how many times I click this, it will not give me the senior partnership. Seems a little strange, but that's okay. I could go ahead and upgrade my government rank at this point. And yeah, why not? Let's pick up another tax season. The coalition is pretty much dissolved here, so we were able to avoid that. No big deal. Now, if this passes, I should be the senior partner, but I don't think it's real. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that weird glitch. But I'm going to go to the first age and pick up that crown power here in the development, because that's pretty handy. I want to add a debt here, which I'm pretty close to. The emperor's dead, okay. But it's me again. But apparently, the emperor lives down there. This is very weird. I don't know what's going on. I just have to try to get union independence here. We're out of debt here. That's good. I just want to figure out this whole union thing because it's kind of weird. Yeah, maybe I should just reload my game, actually. Sometimes that'll fix little things like this. Nope, that did not fix it. Let's go get independence from that guy then. Something weird is happening too where my ruler like moves every month. Or my heir moves every month. It's a little cursed here. I don't know what's going on. Every month I get children could have better education. My children move back like every single month. It happens. I don't know why, but I definitely want to be free from the spam. You know how it is being a playtester sometimes. It's the world we live in. Look at France. Wow. Middle of the HRE. Interesting. Maybe he wants to be my friend. Doubt it, but you know, maybe so. I'm going to fabricate a claim. Just kidding. I need a diplomat for that. No, we'll get a diplomat and then we'll fabricate a claim. Union independence. Also, I probably should accept some more cultures. Can accept Eastern Pomeranian and Silesian German. Probably a good idea to start culture converting too a little bit over here. That reminds me, I actually need to change my culture in my capital. We must become Saxon. I've been declared war on. War of the Anti-Coalition, huh? Okay. I think this game has a habit of declaring coalition wars that it can't win. Oh, this is just one of those examples. I'm not even sure how some of these people are in the coalition, though. They shouldn't be allowed to be. Like Munster shouldn't be allowed to be in the coalition war, but okay. In fact, I don't even know how anyone's allowed to be in this coalition war. It's always the secret nations like the Hanseatic League. You don't see them. But yeah, this war is just a joke. Accepted peace. Shut down the Hanseatic buildings. Okay. What, the war's over? I thought I was the war leader. I'm so confused. What's happening with this game anymore? I thought it was a coalition war against me, but apparently not, or something. Maybe the Hanseatic League just disappeared, and I don't know. Game's weird. I'm gonna go for Union independence because you know some weird stuff's happening. And I'd like to be independent, but it's tax season, and we, you know, best time of the year. Let's call Parliament up, get some money. Ooh, a land focus. Let's get some money going. Probably don't need to pay for stability anymore either. And yeah, we have a bit of cash laying around. We could build some roads. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this breakaway from Union, which is in this second tab here. And that looks fine. No more weird stuff going on, I hope, right? Excellent. And I can put my leader in the army now, finally, for extra crown power. That's helpful. Crown power is at 23%. Not too bad. Could be better, but not too bad. We're going to start annexing some subjects here in a little bit. Just grabbing a few last technologies we missed, like rights of the nobility. And I think we unlocked some special Saxon stuff in the Second Age. Just not sure what it is. It's over here. Income from minting. Sure. Monthly war exhaustion. Yeah, why not? Just kind of going around and assimilating my culture as we can. We're pretty fast at that. Remember early on we switched to humanist. Rights of the nobility. I'm just going to grab this port maintenance one. One thing I forgot to do, I should have done this a long time ago, is make my own market. Again, I probably should have done this years ago, but that's okay. We'll just do it now. Make a market in Berlin. Would recommend, though, you guys do that a bit earlier. Bohemian declared war upon our subject. All right, Bohemian, let's do this thing. This is a war that we definitely need to group up for, because he has more professionals than me. But hey, it's tax season. Could be levy season, too. It's a lot of professionals, though. I already walked into it. Yeah, professionals are crazy this patch. We need to drop our levies and get new ones. So we can build some more armories. I want to build more armories around our capital if we can. We can get Denmark to help here. That'd be huge, too. It's a tough battle for us because he has so many regulars. There we go, though. We were able to win. But that guy has lots of regulars. This is definitely the regulars patch. So regulars are a lot more important than they used to be. That's why we're trying to build up armories everywhere we can. We really need more roads, too. He's got mercenaries, too. We might need to merc up just a little bit, too. Could be a possibility. Definitely a tough war. Let's see what we got here. Quite expensive, but I think the mercs will definitely be helpful. May not look like a lot, only having 900 mercs, but it's actually a pretty huge deal. Pretty big battle here. Close. Okay, we did win. That was close, though. I got to tell my subjects to be supportive. It's all professionals. That is, yikes. Lots of professionals there. Not sure I'd be able to win that. They've hit us to battle here. Just retreat immediately. But he will just take white peace now. So I'm like, okay. We fought a lot of battles there. We were able to hold him off pretty well. He wasn't able to get the war goal. I want to make sure we annex this subject ASAP so it doesn't happen again. I don't know if Bohemian will declare me directly, but he might. But yeah, I definitely had to merc up to make that work, and I had Austria and Denmark, and we still almost lost. So if I could look for a different ally, that'd be good, or even try to re-ally the Bohemia. But the alliance of the Bohemia just hasn't really stuck, so I kind of doubt that it will work out that way. But we'll just have to see. But I think definitely the AI is a lot more willing to declaring your subjects. So I probably just want to make sure we don't have a subject on his border. I'm definitely going to need to build my nation a bit more roads, more RGOs. Otherwise, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Actually have the option to form a defensive alliance with Bohemia, which I think I'm going to take. More so for protection from him. So if we're in a defensive alliance, then it should be a little safer for me. I feel as though defensive alliances are actually better than actual alliances in this game at the moment. I'm just going to want to grab some more handgunners here. They'll put us up to 2,000. Yeah, in this patch, professionals are really important. Of course, I'm in patch 1.07 at the time of recording this video. I probably should have mentioned that earlier. Not sure how this happened, but I'm noticing that My air religion is actually wrong. I thought I changed that earlier, but I guess somehow it's not changed. I need to get that changed in this next debate. I must have picked one of the agendas and it snuck up on me. But that being said, let's go ahead and change that. Air religion to any. Make sure none of my other laws are problematic. And we'll take this time to go through and just show you my laws that I prefer. So we've got no censorship, any religion. This doesn't matter. Noble levies, autonomous councils, centralized bureaucracy. Generally, I like to change this, actually. So I could do that now. Change this to by blood. Ooh, but not like that. Through Parliament. Of course, I would never want to change a law like that. And just continuing through civil law for the legislative efficiency and balanced court for the legislative efficiency. And then this stuff I didn't really change other than the burghers mining law. And the estates law is favor the common people and rule noble authority. And we'll go through our estates as well. It's easier to show what I didn't grant. So this is the stuff I did not grant to the nobility. This is what I did not grant to the clergy. Although I should probably grab this, speaking of that. You can see we almost granted everything to the burghers. And here's what we didn't grant to the commoners. To kind of show you guys what we're looking at. I'm going to go ahead and get a claim with Mecklenburg. Mostly to claim those borders. It just, it doesn't look nice. Let's go ahead and declare war. This one should be easy. Up to 15,000 levies these days. So that war is very fast, very easy. Just go ahead and annex Mecklenburg. I don't think there'll be any coalition for that, no. I guess no one cares. Sometimes I don't really understand that. Like, why does Limburg or Brunswick have zero care in the world? Defensive League tends to like to debate this law a lot. I mean, I'll just pick whatever they want. You just gotta be careful, because if you don't pick something, it goes to no defense. So we got most of the things we wanted to research done. The next stage is about to begin now, so we're in a pretty good spot. Do you want to check on my capital? When I move my capital back and forth, I probably lost my unique buildings. Yeah, we lost our sergeantry there. I didn't even realize that. I always forget if you move your capital, you gotta rebuild those buildings. So coming on the end of the Age of Renaissance, we obviously have a defensive alliance going with Bohemia, so we're really safe. We have a decent economy going. The thing that hurts our economy the most is the cost of court, because we're a great power. However, we probably would swap to the Lutheran in the next age, and then we wouldn't have that issue anymore. Let me know what you guys think of this different strategy. I know we didn't form Prussia, and the beautiful color of Prussia probably isn't even worth it, right? Like, robber barons be damned. But it is an interesting way to avoid the robber barons and kind of avoid the negative consequences of being Brandenburg. And I think Saxony is actually really powerful, formidable, very similar in strength to Prussia. And it kind of makes more sense to me because my capital's closer to Saxon lands anyways than, my capital being as Berlin is just so far away from land over here. But let me know what you guys think. And let me know if you guys want to see a part 2. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a good one.